All right. Well, I mean, lots of comments from yesterday, obviously following the Phonzie news as well and what transpired. Fitman Cam, maybe Fitman Cam is the protein bar guy,
Could be.
right? You better be fit, Fitman Cam. If you're not, I love the irony and I appreciate it. If you're really, he says, I think another silver lining is that our boys now have another chance to prove that they can perform without Phonzie. Love the kid, but our squad is slowly growing into a group that can compensate, perhaps thrive, without him. Again, love him, but I believe this will open up many opportunities for growth and maturity in general. And I think this summer would anyway, because it is the Gold Cup. It is the he believes Cup as well. It is a question of the Stars probably not going there anyway. Certainly, Phonzie wouldn't with Bayern, regardless of the injury. John David, as mentioned, who knows? Maybe he gets a move in that early window to a Club World Cup team, but he might be rested anyway. So I'm excited about this summer. Dubs, Jimmy, and Craig actually they did weigh in on this and they concurred. They actually mentioned it. It is a good summer to be a football fan in Canada because there's a lot of players I really want to see get some serious minutes.
Yeah, and thank you to Fitman Cam for his comment, because I think it was a really astute observation. And maybe if he is being ironic, maybe it was a slip of the keyboard and it was supposed to be Fat Man Cam. But I appreciate the name and the comment, because that's something else. I appreciate our listenership and the people who stick with us even through the rough patches, but also the people who engage with us in the comments, right? Because that fuels this type of pod, but it also kind of just fuels all the conversation around us, and we appreciate that. But I liked what he said, but I think that this team is past being Alphonso, Davies, and company. This team isn't going to look to perform in spite of anything anymore. They're just going to show up, whether the big guys or who are going to be absent for the Club World Cup are there or not, because there's less of a drop now when you think about, we still have our stars and those top tier guys, the world-class talents, like your Jonathan Davids and your Alphonso Davies, but the drop off now from those top guys to our median or mean talent on this men's national team, you could make the same argument for a women's national team, is not that great. And it's ascending, it's rising. And then also the drop off from our best 13 or 14 guys who could maybe be interchangeable into that starting 11 when we put out, or Jesse Marsch puts out his best 11, that drop is less obvious now. It's less marked. And then I think the next step is now from that 14 or 15 player to the player 23. That's what I think we have to go in and fill or look to kind of shore up prior to next year's World Cup. But opportunities 100% and thrive, I think, will happen regardless. But opportunities for the likes of Jebison and Promise David and that left side. So Sam Adekubi, who hasn't really been sort of a factor in this men's national team, he gets healthy, he can get a run out. A guy like Richie Larea, who has fought with, hamstring issues and fitness himself, he gets more of a run out as a nailed on starter. And then maybe Sam comes in and gets some minutes here and there. So I think it bodes well for the depth and the strength of this squad looking forward to next year's World Cup.
Hey, Jimmy, who are you most looking forward to seeing this summer? Is there a player that is on that periphery that has the opportunity to thrive and force Jesse Marsch's hand?
Well, I mean, there's a few players. And I think when you look at this squad, and you say, okay, is the back fours, are those positions cemented? And I think, yeah, I think we probably all agree. Estekio in the middle and Jonathan David. The rest, everybody's still fighting for positions. Who's going to be playing in center midfield? Who's going to play out wide? Who's going to play up top with David? And also who's going to be the goalkeeper? So it's an opportunity for certain players that might have been on the cusp or have come in and out of the lineup to try to get that starting position and convince Jesse Marsch that you can start in this World Cup in 2026. So it's an opportunity for players to shine and showcase that they deserve to be there.
Give me one player that you want to watch.
I want to see Promise David. I'd like to see him alongside Jonathan David to see how the two of them work. I think a big, powerful body up top could create a little bit more space for David underneath. I mean, look, we've watched the clip as well in his last goal. He's an absolute beast, which is exciting for me anyways. I want to see him playing at the international level, which is obviously it's a different game altogether, but it'd be good to see how he performs.
Actually, we haven't. JC, I know we queued that up. Do you mind pulling up that Promise David goal from the weekend? I know Dubs had shared it over the weekend, and I think actually Sharms did first. I think it was shared 2 or 3 different times on our dark web. And
oh, sorry, I thought I shared it. Why is it not? Sorry, April Fool's. Just kidding. Here you go. Just a sec. There you go.
oh, here it is.
Il peut passer, David. Il peut passer. Il passe tombé. Mais c'est pas possible. Il tombe pas. Il marque alors. Il marque.
Watch a little skip here.
Oh, I like it. Good celebration. I like that celebration.
Look at the strength, man. And so many players would have
Incredible.
gone to ground, wouldn't they?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like most players would have gone to ground. He's like, to hell with this. I can see the goal. You can see his eyes just like freaking like saucers. Like, oh, I can just keep going here. But then
He's so big.
he's just a beast. Yeah, he really is so strong.
Our
But
friend at sorry, Sharms, our friend at Junior Canuck 1, he was saying regarding Promise David, Sharms, Wiki has him listed at 6'5", not 6'3". He is a huge dude, and that was an unbelievable goal. So, I mean, he's a man. You know when you stand,
He's
you were
a
saying
man's
yesterday,
man.
yeah, like you're standing beside a man, and you're like, oh, this is just embarrassing what I've got.
But he's not. He's almost like the opposite of Tajon, where Tajon, we talked about, I think it was Forrest last week, said like, I stood next to him and he surprised me how big he was. And I think you don't realize the sort of the height and the stature of Tajon because he's slim. He's slight. Like my Scottish mother-in-law would say about my kids, because they're all quite skinny, like Pharaoh's lean cattle. Like that's what Tajon is. Like his waist is really slim and skinny, but Promise David is every bit of that 6'4" or 5, like whatever he is. I think Canada Soccer has him at 6'4", but he looks every bit of that because it's the height, but it's also the thickness, it's the strength, it's the defined muscles. Like he's like a Hulk out there,
Settle
right?
down there, Dubs.
No,
It looks like he's looks like he's
He could hit
taking
the
a
car
ping
wash.
pong ball.
I'm happy for Phonzie that he went out of his way to make such good friends on the Canada Soccer team.
What are you saying?
I'm saying, like, this guy's going into some really lonely times,
Oh.
and then all of a sudden he's having a fight with the Federation. You don't know what the outcome will be with your teammates. You know, there's maybe one to play it a little differently. That's all. That's how I'm
Maybe.
saying.
I mean that's all public too, right? We have no idea about what
No,
it's like behind
we don't
closed
have a
doors,
clue.
right?
No.
Oh, the players don't care, do they? You tell me, Dubs, Jimmy, do the players really care about that kind of stuff? A player having an issue with the Federation or
No,
the
at
coaching
Bayern,
staff?
they won't give two shits.
At Bayern, they won't. No, but
And even the
within
national team,
Canada,
whatever.
players won't care, will they?
No,
You
they're
think
back
John,
at
John Davis going, oh, God, I can't believe Phonzie, he's fallen out with the Federation.
No, because the players, you go back to your club, you forget about it.
Yeah,
right?
but it's
You're
more than
focused
just
on training and playing, and you're back in your routine again. And whatever the issue is with the player, it's deal with it. It wouldn't bother me.
I was just gonna say, sorry, it was another Jimmy Brennan pregnant pause. Sorry for jumping in there, Jimmy. But it's more than just a beef with the Federation, right? Is a calling out of the medical staff and Jesse Marsh himself for their decision making. So if I was a player, I'd be having a chat with them if I was part of that leadership council. 100% I would, even if it was just a quick note in the WhatsApp group, right?
Even though it wasn't Phonzie that said it, it was his agent.
Doesn't matter.
What are you going to say?
Yeah, what are you going to say?
What would you say?
I would say, are you going to say something to fix this?
Mm.
Because it really, I know, and I think the argument that you guys made yesterday, the fact that he was probably still high off of his surgery meds is a good one, right? Like, I don't think that can be discounted.
Well,
That's
and
a factor in it for sure.
Yeah, so
But
when?
I think, yeah, whenever it would have been, I think in the interim, and I know that it's touchy with his club who pays his wage, and they've come out and they're threatening legal action against Canada Soccer. But you have your statement, and again, is that even him? Does he do his social media? Does he have somebody, a handler who takes care of his Instagram? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Phonzie who's actually posting that, but it wouldn't take much, right? If it could be a separate one when you've come down to earth, you've come off the meds, and you realize the implications of everything that's happened and the way that the situation is unraveled, that you can get back into control and into the driver's seat of all of it and make reparations by just saying something, you know,
But
like
you know
you
what,
don't have
Dubs?
to get into it, but you just say something.
Regardless of what he should have said or didn't say, the more I think about this, the more sympathy I've got for him, and that he's blown his knee out. And then he's now expected to kind of manage and balance both his club relationship and his international relationship, because the club's come out and hammered Canada Soccer as well. And the agent has, right? And like I said, they pay his bills. He's got to be kind of careful what he says here, not to undermine them.
Of course. The thing is too, right? I mean, look, I understand what you're saying, Dubs, but at the same time, I'd be saying, no, it's none of your business. You stay out of it. This is my issue with the national team and with my club and my agent. And I would deal with it behind the scenes. I don't have to come out and say anything to anybody else. It's not affecting you. This is my issue.
What about just his agent's words? That's where I have the issue. I completely agree with you. Deal with it privately. But his agent flew off the handle and potentially ruined reputations and calls into question the integrity of Jesse Marsch and of that medical staff. Just for that reason alone, you just have to say a simple statement saying, I support Jesse Marsch. I was not pressured into playing that game. That was my call. And you don't even have to go that far.
And quite honestly,
support our medical staff. I support my coach. The end.
Are you saying Asian? Or are you saying agent?
Agent.
I'm about to respond here.
No, honestly, the agent needs to fall under the bus here as well on his sword and say, Phonzie, you know, throw me under the bus here for your reputation. If I'm the agent, that's what I'm saying to him right now. So, you know, I said what I said. I probably shouldn't have said it. But to clean things up here, Phonzie, come out with a statement. Throw me under the bus. I'm still going to love you. We're still going to work together. But I think as the agent, you have to do that at this point. You've made the mistake. Don't let your client deal with it. Because he is still, we're still talking about it. We're still getting comments. People are saying, move on. But it's a story. It's a big story.
It's a huge story.
It's still getting a lot
captain
of
of Canada's national men's team. He's the captain. That's why it's such a huge story. I'm going to read a couple here. Comments at the mutant poodle. Yes. And I'm trying to read it with the tone of the person. So just
said mutant poop there at first.
No, poodle. But that's mutant poop too. At the mutant poodle. Yes, let's have heads roll for a story and satisfy the ego of the agent. At Backbeat 44, I think the agent is pissed because he's still shopping Phonzie. And Lily Luna 7437. Wasn't Phonzie just going in for surgery? Isn't there a chance he just was in surgery and couldn't respond to his agent's nonsense? And I was just thinking about that once again, referring to yesterday's podcast. Yes, it could have been boring, but there's some highlights. Me talking about Percocets for a week. I have to say, and T3s, he is drugged up at this moment on anti-inflammatories, anti-pain, and he's lying playing PlayStation or whatever people play nowadays with his leg up, and he may not even know what his agent has started or ended unless people are at him. His supporters like, hey, this is we use the word zeitgeist, but this is your brand in the zeitgeist right now. And it's not looking great for you for Canada, but hey, Bayern and Germans are all on your side. So
that's a good point. Phonzie said during this league, he doesn't follow politics. He doesn't really know what's going on back home, with the whole Trump thing. So if he's that disengaged from the media, maybe he's completely unaware of this shitstorm.
Yeah, but it smacks of entitlement to me, right? He has the luxury of not responding. And that makes me really fucking agitated. Because if this happened in a women's game, the Jessie Fleming as a comparable as the women's head coach, the women's captain of our women's Canadian national team, she would not have the luxury of not responding. You would have to face it head on.
Why not?
And
Why? How's it different?
Because there's not as much money in the game, because I think she would be held to account in a different way. And I'm probably going to get like killed for this in the comments, and I don't give a shit. But like, I feel like it would be different. And so he has the luxury of this fucked up revisionist history, right? It happened last week. And whether he's high or not, posting like, thanks for your support, and I hope I get better soon, and ignoring the shitstorm that he ignited himself or his agent ignited himself. I'm sorry, there's entitlement in that. And
he might not care. And here's the thing matter. Well, this is where I'm saying you're saying entitlement. I'm saying maybe, but the bigger thing is, where's your fan base? Where is your money being paid? Who is allowing you to live this life? Perhaps he's just being, hey, I'm being strategic here. I love playing for Canada. They don't pay my wages. I need to lean into my club, and this is the club support that I'm getting. And all of Munich is backing me, and all of the federation is backing me in Germany. So I don't know. Like, maybe we'll find out more.
I think part of that, though, is also when Bayern Munich speak, everyone listens. The whole world listens because they're Bayern Munich. They've got this huge reach. If Portland came out and ripped Canada for the treatment of Jesse Fleming, unfortunately, no one's listening. Very few. That's not making national headlines, international, because it's not Bayern Munich. That's the reality of it, right? It may be unfair. We may not like to admit it, but Bayern Munich carries a lot of weight in the international sporting media. Portland at this point, NWSL just doesn't. Mm-hmm. Maybe in 20 years' time they will, but that's the reality. And I know that's frustrating to hear, right? But I think it's the truth, is it not?
It's the truth, and it's fair, and it's the reality of the situation. But do you not think that as Canada's captain, not that he owes anybody anything, but whether he cares or not, he's Canada's captain. I want to hear from Alphonso Davies. That's my opinion. And whether or not that changes the course of anything, I think is unimportant. But I think his voice matters. His position matters as the face of this team and the captain of Canada's national team. So it doesn't matter who he's beholden to. We know he's beholden to Bayern Munich, and that resonates more than Canada does. But I think that he owes it to his players. As you guys are saying, like, what do you say on that WhatsApp group if you're a part of that leadership council? You're like,
I didn't say it like that.
You owe it.
So what would you say?
Right.
No, what would you say?
I agree. No, I think you're right, Dubs, though. I think you're right. Too. With whether we can dismiss how important a captain is for a team, but they are the voice of the team. Simple as that. They're going to use his face as the face of the team for the next year. Like, he's going to be everywhere. You have to stand up, I think. And maybe it is unfair. It probably isn't. He didn't want to be sucked into this shitstorm, but it is a shitstorm. And you got to stand up and just say something. And that's not fair on him. But life's not fair sometimes. And as captain, you have to show that leadership. And maybe you will.
I've never heard that before, Sharms. That life's not fair. Never heard. I got it tattooed. It branded on my back from my father.
You and I talk every day, and I tell you that every single day.
Can I pivot for a second? So we were talking about, you asked Jimmy the question, what is a name on that depth charter in the Canadian men's national team that he's looking forward to seeing at the Gold Cup?
Yeah.
And I would say, like, if you look at that cemented back line in terms of those faces, now obviously Phonzie will be out for a while. We'll get to see the likes of Sam Adekubi and Richie Larea, hopefully. But in the center back pairing, like Cornelius and Bombito have been exceptional. But I'd like to see a Luc de Fougerolles. I'd like to see a Kyle Hebert. I'd like to see a Jamie Knight-Labelle get some minutes. And in the middle of the park, I think, Chouanière has emerged as somebody who can fit the bill. If it's not Eustachio and Kone, but I'd also like to see a Nathan Saliba. I think there's the carrot there. And I think Jesse Marsh has talked about him able to compete at that level, but his levels dipped with his club, with CF Montreal. I think part and parcel with the results that the club is having, which have been disappointing, but his performances have also been disappointing. And then in the women's national team, due to injury, there will be some new faces as well as they kick off in Vancouver for the first time since the Christine Sinclair farewell tour. And Evelyn Vienne has a little knock. Clarissa Laracy has a little knock, and Olivia Smith has been swapped off that roster as well. So we'll see Nia Rose step in, and a couple of other players who are pulled in, youth players, because Casey Stoney has the luxury of time, unlike Jesse Marsh, right? A whole year without a competitive tournament to assess players. But there was very little in terms of a shakeup in terms of the roster that was just named. So I think you'd like to have that firepower with the 3 players that I just mentioned, because that really diminishes, I think, what you have on the attack. But I think new faces is a good thing for this women's national team.
Yeah, Argentina, 2 games back-to-back coming up, right? Friday.
NSL players too, Dubs?
Yeah.
Like which is, I think, back to how we see development when we're talking about CPL players or youth sports players or NCAA players having an opportunity to move into professional league and then into the national team. NSL, even though I think that's amazing that there are players that are going to be from the NSL on our national team.
Yeah,
period.
it's very cool. Yeah, so it's Holly Ward from Vancouver Rise earns her first call-up with Kayla Briggs from Michigan State University, and Ella Audie from University of Wisconsin-Madison will join as a training player.
Lots of also all these players leaving Europe for NWSL. Marie Yasmin Aladou is the most recent one to Portland from Benfica, where she won everything.
Yep.
Is that Casey Stoney influence? Is she telling players, listen, get a little bit closer to home? We have a league here that is nose to nose with the top leagues in Europe. It's not as if you're taking a step back in your career. I'm not sure money wise where we're at regarding that, but still, I mean,
didn't you have to leave at 9 o'clock?
Shit, I did.
Oh no,
I did. Jesus Christ! I'm gonna go seriously.
We're gonna end it.
I've got a meeting at my pie shop. I'm gonna be late for it.